What if I told you that you're working way too hard, that you're spending hundreds of dollars a year on something that one plant could give you for free, that you could cut this plant down to the ground, walk away for exactly 4 weeks, come back, and it would be ready to harvest again, and again, and again, for the next 20 years. No mixing, no brewing, no complicated recipes, just cut, use, wait 4 weeks, repeat. This plant mines nutrients from 10 feet underground that your vegetables can't reach. It produces more biomass per acre than almost anything else on Earth. It breaks down into compost in days instead of months. And it's been sitting in gardens, largely ignored, while we waste time and money on fertilizers that destroy our soil. This is Comfrey Bocking 14. And if you're not using it, you're gardening on hard mode. Today, I'm going to show you the laziest, most effective fertilizer system ever discovered, and why almost nobody knows about it. Let's be honest, most of us don't want gardening to be complicated. We don't want to spend weekends brewing compost tea or following complex fertilizer schedules. We want fresh tomatoes and big peppers without getting a chemistry degree. That's exactly what makes Comfrey the perfect lazy gardener's plant. The entire system is absurdly simple. Plant it once, cut it every 4 weeks. Lay the leaves wherever you need fertilizer. That's it. There's no step 4. But before we get into how easy this is, you need to understand why it works so incredibly well. Because when you see what this plant is actually doing underground, you'll wonder why anyone ever does it any other way. This is what's happening beneath your feet right now. Your tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, all your annual vegetables, they've got roots that go down maybe 12, 18 inches. 2 feet if you're lucky. That's their entire feeding zone. But here's the problem. Nutrients don't stay at the surface. Every time it rains, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, all the good stuff, gets washed down into the subsoil. It's not gone. It's just 3, 4, 5 feet deep where your vegetables can't reach it. It's like having a bank account you can't access. The money's there. You just don't have the password. Now look at Comfrey. Its taproot goes 6 to 10 feet deep. It's not browsing the surface. It's mining. Those roots punch through compacted clay layers that stop everything else. They reach down into the deep subsoil and extract minerals that have been accumulating for decades. Then, and this is the brilliant part, it pumps all those nutrients up into its leaves. Those leaves you see? They're not just plant material. They're concentrated nutrition. Comfrey leaves contain up to 7% potassium on a dry weight basis. 7%. Compare that to animal manure, which has maybe 0.5% potassium. Comfrey has 14 times more, plus nitrogen for leafy growth, phosphorus for roots and flowers, and a full spectrum of trace minerals. Calcium, magnesium, iron, manganese, everything your plants need, all packaged in leaves that are ready to harvest. And here's where the lazy part comes in. Here's your entire job description. Every 4 weeks during the growing season, walk out to your Comfrey patch with a pair of sharp shears. Cut the plant down to about 2 to 3 inches above the ground. It takes maybe 5 minutes for a decent-sized patch. Take those leaves, and you'll get armfuls from established plants, and lay them directly on the soil around whatever needs feeding. Tomatoes, peppers, squash, fruit trees, roses, whatever. Just lay them down as mulch, 2 to 3 inches thick. Then walk away. Seriously, you're done. For 4 weeks. What happens next is almost magical. Within a week, those leaves start breaking down. Not the slow, months-long decomposition you get with wood chips or straw. We're talking days. Comfrey leaves are thin, high in nitrogen, and have the perfect carbon-to-nitrogen ratio for rapid decomposition. By week 2, they're already turning into that dark, rich, black gold that gardeners dream about. Your plants are absorbing nitrogen for lush growth and that incredible potassium for flowering and fruiting. Meanwhile, back at the Comfrey plant, tiny new leaves are emerging. By week 3, it's already looking robust again. And by week 4, like clockwork, it's back to full height, ready for another harvest. You get to do this 7, 8, 9 times a growing season. From one planting that you never have to replace. Think about what that means. You plant Comfrey once, one time, and it feeds your garden for the next 2 decades. No reseeding, no replanting, no babysitting. It just keeps producing year after year after year. I've heard from gardeners with Comfrey patches that are 30, 40 years old, still producing massive harvests every month. The plants actually get better with age as their root systems expand deeper and wider. Compare that to buying fertilizer every year, or making compost tea every week, or any other system that requires constant inputs, constant effort, constant expense. This is set it and forget it gardening. This is working smarter, not harder. Now, some of you are thinking, sure, but how does it compare to regular fertilizer or good old manure? Great question. Let's talk performance. Synthetic fertilizers give you a quick nitrogen hit. Your plants green up fast. But that nitrogen is water-soluble, which means half of it washes away before your plants can use it. It pollutes groundwater, creates algae blooms, and does nothing for soil structure. Plus, you're paying for it, and it's made from fossil fuels. Animal manure is better. It's organic, it adds organic matter, and it's been used for millennia. But it's relatively low in potassium, around 0.5%. And unless you have livestock, you're buying it bagged or by the truckload. Comfrey? It's got the nitrogen for growth, but it absolutely dominates in potassium, 5 to 7%. That's what makes your tomatoes red, your peppers sweet, your flowers vibrant. Potassium is the fruiting and flowering nutrient, and Comfrey is absolutely loaded with it. But here's what really matters. Comfrey doesn't just feed your plants, it feeds your soil. When Comfrey leaves decompose, they support an explosion of microbial life. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, all the microscopic workers that make soil healthy. These organisms improve soil structure, suppress diseases, and make nutrients available to plants in ways synthetic fertilizers never could. You're not just adding NPK, you're building a living soil ecosystem, and you're doing it with zero external inputs. This is the difference between feeding your garden and building your garden. Synthetic fertilizers are like fast food, quick energy, but no nutrition. Comfrey is like building a 5-star restaurant right in your soil. Everything your plants need prepared perfectly, available exactly when they need it. And you did almost nothing. Cut, lay, walk away, wait 4 weeks, repeat. The beauty of this system is its versatility. It works for everything. Heavy feeders like tomatoes and peppers, they absolutely thrive on Comfrey. That high potassium content is exactly what fruiting plants crave. Gardeners report doubling their tomato yields just by switching to Comfrey mulch. Compost pile running slow? Layer in some Comfrey leaves. They're high in nitrogen, which heats up your pile and speeds decomposition. What would take 6 months can happen in 6 weeks. Got container plants or greenhouse crops? Make Comfrey liquid fertilizer. Fill a bucket with leaves, add water, wait 2 weeks. Strain out the sludge, dilute the liquid 10 to 1, and you've got the most potent organic liquid feed you can make, completely free. Fruit trees? Ring them with Comfrey mulch. Watch them explode with growth and fruit production. Established Comfrey plants can produce 50 pounds of fresh material per plant per year. That's a lot of free fertilizer. Flowers? Roses go absolutely crazy for Comfrey. So do dahlias, peonies, anything that flowers heavily. That potassium creates bigger, more vibrant blooms with better color. One plant, countless applications, all from that simple 4-week cycle. Okay, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? Fair question. Let me address the common concerns. First, will it take over your garden? Not if you use the right variety. Regular Comfrey can spread by seed and become weedy. But Bocking 14, which is what you want, is completely sterile. It cannot produce viable seed. It only spreads if you deliberately divide the roots. Plant it where you want it, and that's where it stays. Second, is it hard to grow? No, it's almost impossible to kill. Comfrey tolerates poor soil, drought once established, partial shade, clay, and just about any condition except standing water. If you can grow weeds, you can grow Comfrey. Third, how much space do you need? Each plant gets about 3 feet wide at maturity. For most home gardens, 3 to 5 plants is plenty. That's a 9 to 15 square foot commitment for endless fertilizer. You can tuck them along fence lines, in corners, anywhere you've got a spot. Fourth, where do you get Bocking 14? Several online nurseries sell root cuttings. You can't grow it from seed because it's sterile. You need root cuttings or crown divisions. I'll link to reputable suppliers in the description. And finally, what if you mess it up? You really can't. Comfrey is incredibly forgiving. Cut it too early, it'll grow back. Cut it too late, it'll grow back. Forget to cut it all season, it'll come back next spring. This plant wants to help you succeed. All right, let's get you set up. Here's how to install your Lazy Gardener fertilizer system. Step 1. Choose your location. You want a spot that gets at least 3 to 6 hours of sun, has decent drainage, and is easy to access. Along a fence line works great. Garden edges, a dedicated patch if you've got the space. Don't plant it in your annual beds because you'll want it permanent. Give each plant about 3 feet in all directions. Step 2. Plant your root cuttings. When your Bocking 14 root cuttings arrive, Plant them 6 to 8 inches deep. You can plant them horizontally or at an angle. Comfrey doesn't care. Cover with soil, firm it down, water thoroughly. That's it. Do this in early spring or fall for best results. Step 3. Be patient the first year. This is the hardest part for eager gardeners. In year 1, let your Comfrey focus on establishing that deep root system. You can take one light cut at the end of the season, but resist the urge to harvest heavily. You're investing in the future. Step 4. Enjoy 20 years of production. Starting in year 2, you're in business. Begin cutting in late spring when plants reach 18 to 24 inches. Then every 4 weeks through early fall. In my climate, that's April through October. 9 good cuts. Adjust for your growing season. Step 5. Repeat forever. Seriously. That's the system. This is one of the few gardening things you'll do once and benefit from for decades. No replanting, no reseeding. Just consistent, reliable fertility on a 4-week schedule. Here's what this really is. Freedom. Freedom from the fertilizer treadmill. Freedom from complicated feeding schedules. Freedom from wondering if you're doing it right. You plant one crop of Comfrey. You commit to a 5-minute task once a month. And in exchange, you get decades of abundant, healthy, thriving garden growth. Free. This is what sustainable actually looks like. Not complicated formulas or expensive inputs. Not systems that require a degree to understand. Just a plant working with your soil, making nutrients available, improving fertility year after year. Lawrence D. Hills, the scientist who perfected Bocking 14, spent 40 years trying to teach people this. He wanted everyone to have access to fertility without dependence on corporations or chemicals. This was his gift, and it's still here, still working, still waiting for gardeners to rediscover it. The fertilizer industry didn't want you to know about this because you can't sell what grows itself. But now you know. The laziest way to make fertilizer is to plant a perennial that does all the work for you. So stop working so hard, stop spending so much money, stop making it complicated. Plant Comfrey, cut it every 4 weeks, feed your garden forever. That's it. That's the whole system. And it actually works. I've put together a complete resource guide with trusted Bocking 14 suppliers, detailed planting instructions, and troubleshooting tips. It's pinned in the comments. Look for the hearted comment at the top. If this changed how you think about fertilizer, hit that subscribe button. I've got more lazy gardening systems coming that actually work without the work. Now go plant some Comfrey. Your future self will thank you every single month for the next 20 years.